Okay, first thing we gotta do is prep. We go ahead, get there, put our jack underneath, bring it up just a little bit. You don't want to do a whole bunch, just enough. What you need to do to get your shock out. You don't need to take your tire off. So what you do, one, depending on where you're at on your level of your suspension, you want to take it and put it back on the lowest piece that you can. And what I use is a set of, I don't have the pliers for it or the setup for it, but what I do is I just use just plain old oil filter wrench, and it does pretty good. Now when you do this, don't grab on to the spring. Okay. You want to just grab right here, take it down lower. It kind of releases a little bit of extra tension off of it, makes it a little easier to work with. Now up here, and you'll see in the picture, you have a 15mm head bolt and nut, both a 15mm. Up here is a 15mm nut. Then you have a 15mm bolt and nut down here. That's all you're going to have to take a disassemble to get it. Now the thing is though, to get the sway arm or the sway bar assembly out of the way, you have to release tension on both sides. Just take your 15mm nut on both sides of your torsions and just take it up enough where it's not got a whole bunch of pressure pushing down. Okay? And after that, on both sides, you have to come in here and take your nut off, set this. You might have to go up and down a few times to find the sweet spot where you can push your bottom bolt out. Now you can lift your sway arm up out of the way, and you might have to zip tie it, or it could probably stay up in that position, but just get it to where you can get access. Okay. And you just come up here, have your hand on the spring, take it, and you got to work it a little bit, but that's where you kind of lean it forward and it's out. This is the weird little contraption. If you'll notice, I used these and then I came back here and used the ratchet straps just to get it secure. The biggest problem is this going down here on your cup of your shock. It'll try to rip it off, so just be mindful. Just come down, count that far down, you'll see exactly. And that worked perfect for me to go ahead and be able to put this on there. Alright. Okay, now it's time to go back in. So, all you do is snake it up through here, snake it back down through here. Slide it in. There we go. Take your bolt, come in from the front. It's always good to put some lube on stuff on there. Kind of tucked away a little bit, so you just have to feel it around. Find your spot, bring down your sway arm, be mindful of your bushing or your spacer. Okay? Same time, your other side's going to be loose, so you'll have to work them in conjunction with each other. So come down, there we go. Okay, spin your bolt around. I know you can't see it, I apologize. I'm just not a multi-million-dollar production company. I'm just some crazy little guy in the garage. Okay, so make sure everything starts going in there the way it should. And the nice thing about your sway arm, you can work it around a little bit. Now, if worse comes worse, and you can't get it completely lined up, you can use a punch. Be mindful of your boot though, because it is a very close, tight tolerance. So you don't want it to tear or puncture your boot. Okay, now that you have everything assembled, both sides, you've got the sway arm connected. This is 30 foot-pounds, 30 foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds. That goes for the same side, for the opposite side, for the right side, whichever. This is 30, 20, and 30 foot-pounds. But what I would do is torque my shocks first, then I go in and torque this last. And that's it for the rear end. First thing you want to do is take out your cotter key. To help you, go ahead and loosen your nut. Just get it somewhat loose. You don't need to take it out completely. You have a cotter key here and a cotter key down here on the A-arm you got to remove. Now you go after your brake caliper. Those are 15mm head bolts. A little tight. Okay. You never want to let your calipers suspend on the hose, so it's always good to just take it and zip it off to the side somewhere. Now the caliper is off and away. Now we can go after the hose. And always remember which side of the face of your washer is. Okay? A little working, a little wiggling, and it'll come right out. Back to your upper steering. Remember on your upper steering that you have washer below and a washer below. One that'll sit right there. So just remember, one above, one below. Go ahead and drop your lower arm. Watch your fingers. And presto. Okay? Now back here, you're going to have a nut. Just go ahead, take it off. Put the nut off the side, pop the clamp a little bit, now go ahead, slide the drive shaft through, out of the way, have it fight you, okay, put it off the side as much as you can, it'll still be in the way. That's alright. Bolts are 13mm head and 13mm nut. Do not take them out, just loosen them. You'll see here in a second. And presto. There you go. Grab your bushing, slide it on into the bottom. Take your spacer, put it up there on top. Come back up in here. Get it up there a little bit. Don't have to do it all too much. Okay. Go ahead and slide drive shaft back through. Okay. While doing that, slide it back. Put your A arm down a little bit. Lift up and angle your A arm in. Not that hard. Start getting your hub back on here. Okay. Squish your hook or drive shaft through. Make sure that you put it on the right side. Okay. Okay. Here's where the fun part comes. Take your nut or your A-arm. Go ahead and run it down to where it stops or whatever. Okay. This is actually the shortcut that Hightlifter has in the installation guide. So this is where you get to see exactly how it works. Basically, bring it back down on itself. Now you're going to use a piece of wood. Just be mindful of putting tension back up on the front. You might have to squirt it a little bit. Okay. And then you go to where you start seeing everything stop. Once you see that, you stop. Leave it as is. Grab an inspection mirror and your light, and then go down to where you see the split, and you start seeing where everything is sitting on top of each other. Now that you've seen everything is in there and it's all the way at the bottom, now it's time to tighten this up a little bit. And you don't have to gorilla tighten it right now. We'll do all that here in a minute. So just tighten it up just a little bit. Okay. Now that you've got that in there, it's not going to go nowhere. Go ahead and lift it back up, and you'll notice that it does not move. Everything will come right back up. Okay. Connect up your steering. Go ahead and grab a caliper. These two bolts right here get torqued to 17 foot-pounds. Okay. A-arm is 30 foot-pounds. Also to where you can line the cotter key. See if you got a cotter key alignment. 17 millimeter for that. Again, 13 millimeter for this. 40 foot-pounds. Gets a cotter key. 40 foot-pounds. Gets a cotter key. And it uses 15 millimeter head for bolt head and couplers are 15mm bolt heads, and they go to 46 foot-pounds. Also, blue Loctite them when you do this. The hub is 80 foot-pounds, line up cutter key. Perfect shot. Okay. So go ahead and secure the clamp for the brake line.